like I said, my support system is supporting me. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I hope you are doing well. I am okay. It is the second episode for the year, and I have a better outlined episode for today. So let's get this going straight away, okay? I want to start off with a story. So this happened, I think it was 2 years ago, where we were sitting in the lounge, and by we I mean my father, my mother, myself, the dogs. The door was open and a tiny baby bird flew in and landed on the flower pot that we have by the door. Twigs sticking out. Not really any leaves. They had all fallen off. But this bird landed there. And we had a dog at the time who saw this bird and was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. So my father managed to grab the dog and we managed to corral the bird out the house. And the dog ran after this bird outside, managed to jump and grab the bird in its mouth. My father then wrestled this poor bird out of the dog's mouth. Luckily, Birdie was unharmed. And then as Birdie tried to fly away, Birdie ended up stuck in our cactus, okay? And this is not a tiny cactus. This is one with a sturdy body, multiple arms coming out, and a second shoot also coming up the side. So Bird was stuck terribly in this poor cactus plant, and my father ended up having to take a stick and wrestle this poor bird out of the cactus. And Bird got out the cactus, luckily still okay, still safe. I was holding back the dog, and luckily my father was able to get the bird out, grab it, and kind of throw it in the air as we heard its parents call for it, and they all flew home. And I tell the story to my cousin's 2 boys, and they are gobsmacked when I tell it because they want to hear it over and over again. And it's hilarious. Because imagine a bird just flying in your house, landing on a little pot plant, and then your dog running after it, wrestling the bird away from the dog, trying to help it fly away. It flies into your cactus, digging it out of there. The bird dives for it again. You grab it, you throw it up, and it flies away. I said, that poor bird is probably at home in its nest, with a blankie wrapped around it and hot chocolate just rocking back and forth. Is this what the world is? Is this what I have to go through all the time? It's hectic. And as crazy as that whole endeavor was for that poor bird, I'm just what resilience? It's a lesson you can take in life. Keep being resilient. You can be in the mouth of a dog and then in a cactus tree and then have to still fly home after all those harrowing events and probably have to get up early tomorrow to try and catch a worm. So life is hard, life is hectic, but it's being resilient and knowing that you'll eventually get somewhere better that does make it all worth it. Now, why am I bringing up resilience and all this? Well, this year has been annoyingly tough for barely a month in, and I got a phone call on the day I'm recording this about a job, and it was early afternoon, and I realized in that moment I was not ready because it was 2 o'clock. I'd brushed my teeth, I'd been sitting drinking a Red Bull to try and get through the day, and I was not in a decent outfit. I was not, made up in any way, not even chapstick, what's it, labella on my lips. Harrowing is what I looked like, and I realized, what am I doing? Because if they asked me to hop on a video call now for a post-call interview, I was not ready. And that made me switch gears mentally. I want to be ready. And so you gotta plan for it. I've been going through it recently. not for any other reason than just I felt a bit lost, I felt a bit behind, and those are very terrible things to be feeling this early in the year, especially considering how excited I am for this year, because yes, I still am excited for this year. So I decided, you know what? Absolutely not. I need to go for it. I need to do it. And I will. So how do I plan on getting myself ready? I have not thought that through properly, but I have been thinking of the goals I wanted to achieve for 2026. And one of those things in general is kind of just getting my routines in order. You know, life is built around your structure, your habits, your goals, your dreams, and how you go about achieving them. If you aren't putting your best foot forward and making sure you are planning, prepping, and producing what needs to be done in order to achieve it, you aren't going to get there. And that is terrifying. Because now it's like, you can just float by. That's how some people live their life. But the moment you make a plan and you don't achieve it, it's like, ooh, I set out to do this, I'm not getting there. What is wrong with me? So having come to that realization, I figured I needed to just do a big kind of overhaul of my life. That means figuring out where I want to go. And in doing so, I had to just reflect on the goals I wanted to achieve. And they aren't insane goals, but I do think they are vital for me personally. So I'm just gonna talk through a couple of them. I'm not gonna reveal everything because some are for me alone, and I'll speak about them later. One in particular is something I've only told, I think, 3 or 4 people in my life. And having to go through a whole festive season without blurting it out was impressive for me. So yeah, I haven't mentioned it anywhere, but yeah, I'm working on something and that's part of my goals. So I'm gonna just speak about the others. The first one that I set is to read 13 books this year. I did 12 last year and I wanted to do one more than what I did last year, but also make it as part of a habit system, because especially with me, I tend to love technology till late at night. So that means like going on my phone, scrolling, playing a game, and reading a book before I go to bed has always been good for me. I've noticed over the years, because it wasn't just something I did recently. For years, I would read it at night before going to bed, and then it would be great, and then I'd fall off because I'd fall into YouTube or Pinterest or some other habit that wouldn't be as good, especially because if you're reading a physical book, there's no blue light, or even just listening to an audiobook, that is great. I love that. So reading 13 books this year is both a goal, but also part of the habits that I want to set for myself to just improve my sleep, improve my mental capacity, all those kind of things. And it's something I genuinely love. Another goal I have is to go on a solo outing once a month. So this doesn't have to be big. It could literally be going to a coffee shop alone with a book and just reading, or with a notebook and just journaling or whatever. But I want to go on outings alone, just because that's something I've missed doing. And I think it's one of my greatest things that I can do for myself. I know potentially going out alone can be harrowing for some people, but to me it's like one of my favorite things to do. I know I took my mom out earlier in this year and we ended up going to a spa that had a bean tree, and I sat by myself having a milkshake, having breakfast, and then my mom was shopping in completely different shops because she was like in other places, and I'm just like, yeah, cool, now I'll be here, thank you. So technically I've done my one for January, but that's something I want to do every single month. And with me, the more you plan it, the better off you are. So that's definitely something I want to do. I also want to build consistency on my Instagram and TikToks. That is actually part of challenges that I plan on doing. So I want to do a detox-ish challenge starting soon and then ending just before my birthday. And then I want to do another birthday series type of thing just to help build consistency on those platforms. It's hard to build consistency on those platforms because I'm not chronically online. And if you are, you kind of like, oh, this is a trend, that's a trend, I can recreate that. That's not me. I'm not there. That's not where I live. I live in the real world, not online. And to each their own. I don't have any shade towards anyone who's chronically online. We need people like that to make the videos that summarize all the stuff. Love that. But that's not me. So that's a bit of a thing that I definitely need to work on. And I think a challenge of some sort will definitely help. Speaking of online, I also upload my everything on all platforms. So the podcast goes up on YouTube, Spotify, Castbox, everywhere. My short form content also goes up everywhere. So if it's a TikTok, it'll go up on Instagram. If it's on Instagram, it'll go up on YouTube Shorts. I just post everything everywhere. And one of those things that I also want to do this year with social media is get my backlog on YouTube completely up to date. I just did episode 101 and this is episode 200 and something. So I've got quite a ways to go. And because I'm also partially re-editing the episode to a video format from an audio format, it takes a bit longer, especially if I'm inserting slides or things on the video version, or if I'm speaking about something, I have to go in and add that to the format. So that's taking a bit longer than I anticipated. But because I'm only uploading episodes every second week in terms of the podcast, I have that week to play with and actually get something done. So hopefully it'll go much faster. And remember, I'm on episode 101. This is episode 200 and something. That does not include 25 Podmas episodes that also need to go up. So wish me luck. Thank you. Yeah, those two consistency things are definitely on my list. I do want to do a solo trip this year. That's a goal for 2026. Most likely going to be the end of the year. Hopefully I got a job by then. Hopefully I've got money saved by then. That is something I want done because I do love traveling. It is something I thoroughly enjoy, and especially since I did my long distance driving for the first time end of last year, beginning of this year. We went to the cherry farm in just past Ceres, I think, Klondike Cherry Farm. That was amazing, but it was a bit of a long-ish drive. Bainskloof is no joke. So yeah, I absolutely love that. And taking a solo trip somewhere not too far, not too close, definitely up my alley. Another thing I want to work on this year, which is part of the habits, is better communication with family and friends. I actually sent a message to my friend who's overseas, and he was like, yeah, sorry, I can't really respond to your messages, but I will when I get a chance. And I'm just like, dude, I'm doing this for me. I love the fact that you want to respond, and I'm grateful for that. But like, I'm communicating weekly because it's a me thing, not a you thing. You take your time. You take 3 to 5 business days to get back to me. That's fine. It's not a problem. Another thing I want to incorporate, and I think this one is more important in terms of daily habits, is more consistent self-care. So that is not just the hair or the getting the brows done or doing the nails or whatever. It's like journaling, mental health, meditation, no caffeine too early in the day, doing that hair mask, like all those small things that I want to work on and build into habits for my year, because even just taking the time to do something like that makes the world of difference. I had on a set of nails for like 2.5 weeks. I took them off recently, and I'm just like, my nails are actually so strong underneath those fake nails, but like, it was fun having them on, it was fun putting them on, and it just made my day to actually just take 2 seconds to look at my nails and be like, ooh, these are nice. So it's the small things. Another goal is to actually build up a savings fund again. Hopefully I'll get a job soon, which is a goal that I have for this year. And yeah, I've got a couple of others I'm not gonna mention. But the one goal that's actually split into two on my list is health for this year. This year, I've decided to actually take my health quite seriously. Last year, beginning of December, with the Cyber Monday sale, I actually got a walking pad for myself, and I have been using it quite consistently, and I'm loving it. So aside from just walking more in general, I've been taking my health much more seriously, eating right, drinking right, being healthy as possible. It's a journey. It's not going to happen in a day. But like, I've got a good support system around me. My family is very, very caring and considerate. My brother actually got me one of the best Christmas gifts ever. So I love almond milk, and for health, I should give up dairy and gluten. I struggle with that, so I've been trying to do it here or there and make a swap where I can. And the one thing my brother bought me for Christmas, okay, he bought me two things. One was Essence makeup, love that. But the other thing was an actual milk maker. So it's a Cambrook multifunction milk maker. It makes milk, it makes juice, it makes paste. Game changer. Absolute game changer. I literally went to Food Lovers Market the other day, bought some almond, bought some dates, made the milk myself. It is amazing, okay? Like, give me till February and I'll be making my own homemade almond milk cheese. Like, I'm doing it all. Because like I said, I need to go dairy free. I prefer almond milk, and it's actually one of the best options for me. I'm loving it. It's amazing. I like I said, my support system is supporting me. So those are my goals for this year and things that I'm working on. But now that I've got direction, I can actually start fleshing it out and getting a plan going. So to recap, I'm going to be figuring out exactly what I need to do, how I need to do it, getting a daily routine going for the morning, afternoon, evening routines, and working all these goals and habits into my life, because what you do every day becomes your life, and I haven't been doing what I need to do. So that is what I'm going to start working on. As human beings, we are capable of change, and as we change and grow and develop, we become who we are meant to be. And I always found that weird, and I'm just like, but you are who you are. And it's like, no, you create who you become. You can easily change it up at any point in time. And I'm just like, that is powerful. Imagine knowing that you can write down a list of things you want to achieve, go to sleep, and wake up and start trying to achieve it. Like, it didn't take you a while to get there, but you've got that blinders on, you put your head down and you work towards it. That is power beyond people can comprehend. Like, that is insane power, yet you can wield it anytime you want. That's groundbreaking. So, go break that ground. Thank you for sticking with me. The song of this week is, like the beginning of this episode, about a bird. Which is Like a Bird by Nelly Furtado. It's a classic song. I think we all know it. But yeah, we are like a bird. Fly free, fly far. But don't forget to come down to the ground, because you're going to have to. So stay humble. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for listening to my rant. I am always available for any comments or questions, and I have been responding to anything I do receive on my platforms, which has been fun. So yeah, thank you. Remember to keep being a better being, and I'll see you not in next week, but in the next episode. Love you. Bye.